Scroll through any feed today, and eventually you'll see it. A scammer exposed, a liar caught on camera, a stranger who did something cruel now drowning in comments. Thousands of strangers piling on at once. Something rises in your chest while you watch it happen. It isn't sadness, it's satisfaction. You want them to suffer just a little. You want everyone to see it happen. But the real reason you feel that pull is far stranger than justice. It's older than justice. It's older than language itself. For most of human history, there were no police, no courts, no prisons with walls and guards waiting behind them. If someone in your group stole food or lied or hurt another person, there was no number to call and no system to hand the problem to. There was only the group itself, and the group had to decide, right there in the open in front of everyone, what to do about it. Anthropologist Christopher Boehm spent decades studying hunter-gatherer societies that still lived close to how humans lived for nearly all of their history. He found something strange sitting at the center of these bands. Almost no formal leaders, no chiefs handing down sentences from above, and yet they were nowhere close to lawless. When someone broke the rules, the group responded in careful stages. First came gossip, whispers behind the offender's back, spreading fast, making sure everyone quietly knew. Then came open ridicule, mocking the person to their face until shame did the work. Punishment usually does. If that failed, the group simply stopped talking to them at all. No arguments, no violence, just silence. Only in the rarest cases, when someone kept endangering the whole group again and again, did the band ever move to actual execution. And even then, Boehm found, it was almost always a group decision, never one person's call to make alone. Do you know what silence like that actually meant 40,000 years ago? It meant your food. It meant your safety at night. It meant every hand that would have helped you carry water or warn you about a predator or share a fire pulled away from you at once. Boehm called this pattern reverse dominance. Instead of one strong person controlling everyone else, the entire group ganged up to control anyone who got too selfish, too violent, or too proud to follow the rules. And their favorite weapon was never the spear. It was exile. Banish someone from a hunter-gatherer band, and you didn't need to lift a hand against them again. The desert, or the forest, or the winter would finish the job for you. A human alone, without a group's shared knowledge of water sources, without help carrying an injury, without anyone to keep watch while you slept, rarely lasted long out there. Exile wasn't the lesser punishment back then. It was often a death sentence with better manners, and exile was almost never handled quietly off to the side. The decision was announced to the entire band, out loud, so every single person watching understood exactly what selfishness would cost them. This is why your brain still treats social rejection like something close to physical pain. Neuroscientist Naomi Eisenberger ran a now-famous study using something called the Cyberball paradigm. Volunteers played a simple ball-tossing game inside a brain scanner, believing they were playing catch with two other real people online. Partway through, the other players simply stopped throwing the ball their way. No insult, no confrontation, just quiet exclusion. The brain scans showed something remarkable. The same region that activates when your body registers physical pain, the anterior cingulate cortex, lit up just as strongly when people were left out of a simple digital game. Being excluded didn't just feel bad in some vague emotional way. Your brain processed it using the exact same circuitry it uses for a slammed finger or a burn. That's not a coincidence, that's an inheritance. Ancestors who felt real physical level pain at the mere threat of being cast out worked harder to stay in the group's good graces. The ones who didn't feel that pain wandered off eventually or got pushed out, and usually didn't survive long enough to pass much of anything on. Over tens of thousands of years, that wiring won the argument. It's sitting in your skull right now, reacting to a comment thread the same way it once reacted to a hunting party leaving without you. But exile alone doesn't explain everything. Why do you want to actually watch the punishment happen? Why does it feel good to see someone shamed publicly, not just quietly cut off? Economist Ernst Fehr and Simon Gächter ran an experiment in the 1990s that researchers still cite constantly today. They had strangers play a cooperation game, putting money into a shared pot that grew and paid out to everyone, as long as people contributed their fair share. Some players cheated, holding money back while still collecting from the group's payout. Standard economic theory predicted people would simply accept the loss and move on with their lives. They didn't. Fehr and Gächter gave some players a new option. Pay a small cost yourself and you could punish the cheaters directly, docking their earnings even further at your own expense. People took that deal constantly. Again and again, across dozens of repeated rounds in group after group, players spent their own money just to make sure the free rider lost more than they gained. Researchers named this altruistic punishment, costly to the person doing the punishing, with no direct personal benefit except one hidden benefit. It made everyone else in the group cooperate more afterward. Punishing a cheater was never really about that one cheater. It's a signal, broadcast to the entire group, that selfishness has a price attached to it. And your brain rewards you chemically for sending that signal out loud. Watching a wrongdoer get what's coming to them activates some of the same reward pathways as a treat, or a win, or an unexpected compliment. Justice to your nervous system tastes a little like dessert. So picture what your ancestors' villages actually looked like. Centuries before television, before newspapers, before any of this existed. There was no need for elaborate systems back then. A public scolding in the town square usually did the job on its own. A pillory locking someone's head and hands inside a wooden frame while neighbors walked past and stared wasn't really about physical pain. It was about visibility. Medieval courts even relied on trial by ordeal, forcing the accused to hold a burning iron or plunge an arm into boiling water, on the belief that the community's god would leave a mark of guilt behind. The physical suffering was never really the point of any of it. The goal was for absolutely everyone else to see it happen, and to walk away certain that the rules still meant something. Eventually, as villages grew into cities too large for gossip to reach everyone, something had to replace the whisper network. Written law arrived to do that job. The Code of Hammurabi, carved into stone nearly 4,000 years ago, didn't just list punishments, it listed them in public, on a pillar anyone could walk past and read. The message hadn't changed at all. Only the size of the crowd watching had. Give it a few more thousand years, and the pillar became a newspaper, then a television screen, then the palm of your hand. Psychologist Molly Crockett has spent years studying what happens to that ancient instinct once it moves onto a screen. In her research, expressing moral outrage online, even briefly, made people feel more connected to their own group and boosted how trustworthy they seemed to like-minded strangers. Whether or not the outrage actually changed anything at all, the platforms noticed the pattern fast. Posts dripping with moral anger get shared further and faster than almost anything else you can post, because the algorithm rediscovered something your ancestors already knew around a fire. A group that punishes someone together ends up feeling closer to each other afterward. That's the part that should sound uncomfortably familiar. Because right now in your pocket, you are carrying a device that recreates the village square, the whispering gossip network, and the public pillory, all at once refreshed every few seconds. When someone gets canceled online, almost nothing about the process is actually new. The pile-on in the comments is the gossip stage. The screenshots circulating everywhere are the open ridicule stage. Getting blocked, deplatformed, unfollowed by everyone at once. That's exile, fully digitized. And that little jolt you feel scrolling through it, the urge to add your own comment, your own share, your own tiny piece of the punishment, that isn't cruelty rising up in you. That's 40,000 years of survival wiring, doing exactly what it evolved to do, just wearing a different kind of village this time. Here's the strange part nobody warns you about. Your ancestors genuinely needed this system to survive. A single selfish person left unchecked could drain a small group's food, break its trust, and put everyone at real risk in an environment with absolutely no backup plan. Punishing them wasn't optional back then. It was structural, load-bearing, essential. The instinct that makes you want to see a wrongdoer suffer publicly kept tiny bands of 30 or 40 humans alive, long enough to eventually become all 8 billion of us. But you are not living in a hunter-gatherer band of 30 people anymore. You're one voice inside a village of billions, watching strangers you will never meet, judged for things you often only saw in a 10-second clip, with no gossip network left to check whether the story is even true. The instinct fires exactly as hard as it did when your tribe's entire survival depended on it. It simply can't tell the difference anymore between a genuine threat to your group and a stranger's worst moment, clipped, captioned, and served straight to you by an algorithm that profits every time you feel outraged. So the next time you feel that familiar pull, that itch to watch someone get exactly what's coming to them, notice it before you act on it. Ask yourself a simple question first. Is this a real threat to anyone you actually know, or is it just an old alarm, ringing for a village that no longer exists? It isn't proof that you're a good person enforcing justice. It's proof that you're a very old kind of animal, still running very old software, standing in the same square your ancestors stood in for 100,000 years, just holding a screen now instead of a torch. Scroll through any feed today, and eventually you'll see it again. A stranger, exposed, drowning in comments. This time, you'll know exactly what's rising in your chest and exactly how old it really is.